Hello, hello, hello again, ghosts and ghouls. It's your girl SJ, and I got the guy,
Jeff.
Jeff, and together we are the Popcorn Patrol podcast, and we do movie reviews. We release them every Thursday, and this week's movie we are doing the 90s. It's the 90s, right, Jeff?
1996.
1996 classic Scream. Welcome back, guys, and we are doing Scream this week. We changed it up on you. We were supposed to do a different movie, but we thought we'd keep you on your toes this week. So, um, yeah, that's what we're doing this week. Jeff, I wanted to ask you, what has been your favorite costume you've ever had that you can recall?
My favorite costume.
Yeah.
I would have to say I have a Mario costume that I've had now for 5 or 6 years. My son is a big Nintendo fan, big into Mario, and we had a Mario themed birthday party for him, I think for like 6 or 7, and it might have even been 5. And he I dressed up as Mario for the party, and we had the question box pinata, and we made Mario Karts out of cardboard boxes, and they had Mario Kart races in the basement for candy. And it was just we had a Mario themed cake. It was just a great time. So I've had this Mario costume, a pair of blue overalls, and a red sweater. And I can grow a mustache, so I just will
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
shave and just have the mustache. And I have a hat that I've made that's got the red. It's red and has the M on it, and yeah, that's my favorite costume. What about
Now,
yours?
I always like I always see Princess Peach and I'm like, I could be Princess Peach, but I would be like Princess Brown Peach or, or Princess Chocolate Peach. I don't know. I don't know how that would work, but I guess you just do it and ignore that part. But yeah, I would say my favorite costume. Listen, my mom can do wonders with the sewing machine. We went out to this place called Fabricland. She bought the fabric, and listen, that year I want to be Commander Riker. I wanted to be Star Trek Next Generation, and my mom turned it out. Okay, that costume was exactly like what you see. She sewed the SHIT out of that costume. And I wish I still had it, but it was the best costume I've ever had by far, hands down. Because I was into Star Trek Next Generation. If you guys don't know, Commander Riker is the second in command from Jean-Luc Picard. There's a little nerd information for you there. Um, but yeah, I would say that was my favorite costume. So let's get into this movie because there's a crazy costume in this movie that everyone knows about, right? Um, we've
So
got
Scream was released in 1996, and it had a budget of $15 million, and it brought in over 173 million at the box office.
yeah.
That's pretty decent considering the budget. It was directed by Wes Craven, written by Kevin Williamson. It stars Nev Campbell, Courtney Cox, and David Arquette. It originally started out as a play. There was supposed to be a one-act play, and they wanted to turn it into a movie. They wanted Wes Craven. He turned it down twice because he had already done a couple other scary movies, and he didn't want to be known as the horror guy,
The
so he
scary
turned it
movie guy.
down. And which is funny because it was actually originally supposed to be called Scary Movie. That was the original title for it, but then they ended
And
up just
then,
calling it Scream.
right.
And the Ghostface costume is a play off of the Scream, like is it Van Gogh artwork? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I could
yeah.
have
That's the
gotten
one with the
that
guy holding his
artist
face.
wrong.
No, that's Van Gogh.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Things you know
Um,
without knowing that you know them.
so here's something that I know that I didn't know that I knew, but then I knew. Uh, Kevin Williamson is a writer on Dawson's Creek, if not the creator. He might be the creator of Dawson's Creek.
Okay.
And I love me some Dawson's Creek. And I saw some similarities once I figured out that he was involved in this project as well. Should we get into the popcorn paradise of it all?
Absolutely.
All right. So, listen, the first thing, I love Drew Barrymore.
She
I
was
was
she was almost going to be Sydney Prescott.
really
Yes. Yes.
okay. Listen, I
Really
might
good.
have liked that more because Nev Campbell, she was giving Kristen Stewart, but we'll get into we'll get into that later. Um, Drew Barrymore was great. I thought she was great at the beginning, and it was a good way to open. It was, um, you see her popping the popcorn, things start to happen pretty quickly, and then like pretty quickly we meet the ghost face character is introduced, and there's the big dramatic death scene there, and that was the opening of the movie, and I thought it came in with a big bang, in my opinion. So I really enjoyed that. A lot of the characters in this movie were very good. They're well written. They're funny. This movie doesn't take itself seriously, even though it's a horror movie, and I like that. Um, I like the jokes that are made and the fact that they're kind of, I guess, making a satire out of the previous horror movies that have been made.
So you mentioned that a lot of the characters in this movie are named after key players in other horror movies.
Oh, really?
So we have Sam and Tara Carpenter. That's a nod to Halloween creator John Carpenter.
Okay.
Wes Hicks being named after Wes Craven, and then Billy Loomis. His character pays tribute to Halloween's Dr. Sam Loomis. Yeah,
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
yeah, and
Yeah.
you see in that opening scene that you mentioned with Drew Barrymore. I'm not sure if it's Billy or Stu at that time on the phone. It's one of them, obviously, and he asks her if she likes scary movies, and she says that she does, and he's going to play this trivia game with her. And the question that he asks is, "Who was the killer in Friday the 13th?" And at
Right.
this point, she's already panicking, and she's just like, "Oh, it's Jason," and she's wrong. And this is a really good trivia question because it's not Jason. It's Jason and all the rest of the 75 Friday the 13th movies. I think there's only 12 or 13,
Right.
but 12, I think. And because it stuck out in my mind that they didn't have a 13th Friday the 13th yet. And
Mm.
yeah, anyway, so it was really interesting because, if you ask anybody who the killer is,
You asked me, I could tell you who the killer was. And I'm not, you know, a horror savant, So yeah, that is interesting. I do believe I bet you it was Stu doing the calling, and I bet you it was Billy in the ghost face costume. That's what I think. But he because when everything, yeah, I don't know. I think he's the one doing the killing. But we'll get more into that as we talk about more stuff.
well, I think they both had their own costume because
Yes,
they cut up the one costume. The one
right.
costume gets cut up. So, and then there's
Mhm.
still the costume at the end. So they do have more than one costume.
Yeah.
One of the other things I will put in the popcorn paradise is Jamie Kennedy. So
Yes.
Jamie Kennedy is that geeky kid that he's just like going on about the rules and how this works, and he does it in the second one as well. I was super glad that he survived because his character was great.
I like his character
I
too.
love the
Yeah.
part where they're at the party, everyone's already left. It's him on the couch. He's watching Halloween, and he literally is saying, "Jamie, look out behind you."
Yeah.
And behind him
Is the
is
ghost
is
face.
Ghostface, but
Yeah.
he's watching the TV, and behind Jamie Lee Curtis, who he's talking to through the
Yeah.
TV, is Michael Myers, and it's just funny that I just yeah, that it's funny, and
Yeah,
but
and they do that a lot.
he
They do
walks
that
you
a
through the whole movie. Like if you just
yeah,
listen to what he is saying, he's telling you, oh yeah, it's the boyfriend, and it doesn't need a motive, or maybe the motive is that the she won't sleep with him,
right.
and and then Stu's like, well, what about the dad? And it's like, oh, yeah, they'll probably find the dad dead here in a couple days, anyways, and this is just it's easy. Like you guys are stupid for not knowing this,
Right.
and just playing it off that way. But he also kind of has the hots for Sydney.
For yeah, he
Yeah.
likes Sydney. His character also David Arquette, Deputy Dewey,
Yep.
and Courtney Cox is Blair. Sorry, Gail Weather
Yep. Weathers.
Weather Storm
Weathers.
Weathers.
Yeah.
Um, listen, Courtney Cox was killing that neon yellow outfit. Props to her.
She
Shout
looked
out.
great in this movie.
She looked
Yep.
great.
She looked great.
Um, David Arquette, super funny, had a really great take on the character. He was kind of like the shy police officer that can't get any respect from his sister, played by Rose McGowan, who was also very good in this movie too. I think the actors in this movie were pretty good, and usually I think it has a tendency to get cheesy when it comes to horror films. You get like some cheesy actors. Deputy Dewey, I like the relationship between Courtney Cox and Deputy Dewey, how they had like a little bit of flirtiness, and he, even though he was shy, he still really liked her. And Gail's kind of I wouldn't say an outcast, but people don't really like her too much.
People feel like she cashes in on other people's tragedy.
Right.
She's writing a book about Sydney's mom's death, who we find out later that it was Billy and Stu that killed the mom,
Right.
which is crazy.
Did
And
we did they say exactly why? Oh, because
because
she
Sydney's
was
mom
having
was sleeping with Billy's dad,
Billy's right, 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 right,
and that's what caused Billy's mom to leave.
right,
But how's
causing
that? How's that Sydney's fault? Like, why are you taking it out on Sydney? It's not her fault.
listen, it takes two to tango. We had this
Right.
conversation a couple
Exactly.
episodes back. It takes
Yep.
two to tango.
Right.
So um listen,
And
and Skeet Ulrich, he was giving skeevy, not sexy right from the beginning. They have him cast as kind of like this new age Johnny Depp or whatever. And yeah, I didn't feel it. I was like right away when he started talking to when he showed up in Sydney's window at the beginning. I was like, no.
Billy.
Mm-mm. Yeah, Billy's
Yeah.
given skeevy. I was like,
Yeah,
no.
you kind of had the feeling right off the top that something was going on with him. He just
Yeah,
looks like a jerk, right?
yeah. I
He's
know what you were
he's
gonna
kind of
say.
making her feel bad all the time about stuff, and
Yeah, like making her feel bad for not wanting to do stuff with him and like all that
but
stuff. And it's like, grow
it
up.
it really shines through when the turn happens, when he's stabbed in the gut by Stu in the bedroom, and he comes down the stairs pretending he's basically on his last walk here, and
Yeah.
slams the door in
His walk to
Amy
remember.
Kennedy's face, and then turns around and he's just like corn syrup, like they do in the list
Yeah,
off
yeah.
who it was, and then she realizes, oh damn, I'm in trouble. Like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
But Matthew Lillard, who played Stu, was incredible,
He was a great
especially in
psycho.
yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah,
especially near the end of the movie once the reveal happens.
right.
He's already been stabbed by Billy, and he's just like, I'm dying here, and he's just yeah,
He's trying to play along with everything, but he can't focus because
yeah,
he's in so
because
much
he's
pain.
losing
And
lots of his
Billy went in hard. Like
yes.
Billy was really, really stuck it to him, and for no good reason too. Just that he's a psycho. He's like a killer. Um, Yeah, I did find like during the movie, I found Matthew Lillard to be a little annoying, like Stu's character to be a little
Yep.
annoying. But as we got to the ending, like the acting was good when he got stabbed and stuff, but he played a good crazy person. One thing that I liked for Popcorn Paradise was I liked that Sydney was kicking Ghostface ass. She always like finds a way to like slam a door in his face, kick
Yep.
him, knee him, elbow him, punch him. And usually, you don't see you see the girl kind of like, and she
Yep.
dies. But she was like kicking and screaming and taking names. And I was like, I was fully invested in some of those scenes. I was like, yes, do it. Yes, go City. Like I
Now,
had
one
my
of the
little
other things,
cheerleader palms on.
yeah, one of the other things that I noticed, I watched this movie with my son. It was his first time watching it.
Oh,
Yeah, Jacob, he's 11, and it's his first time watching a thriller. Like it's just,
yeah.
up to this point, he's been watching the odd Marvel movie and the Mario movie and
Yep.
just cartoons, but he really enjoyed it. He wasn't
Scare,
scared
like,
by it. Like,
yeah.
a couple of jump scares got him, but um, watching him watch it for the first time was great. So part I was going to talk about was when the principal is like putting on the mask and he's in
Oh
the
yeah, yeah.
office.
Hmm.
Hilarious scene. But when he comes out, when he hears a noise, he sees the janitor in the hallway.
And it's
Janitor is dressed like Freddy Krueger.
Freddy Krueger,
Yeah.
and he calls him Fred.
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught that, but he's like, "Have a good night, Fred." And
Yeah.
I was like, "That's so blatant."
Yeah.
It's such a blatant nod, but it was
Yeah.
cool. It was cheeky. Um, yeah, I noticed that, and I think when they got him to put on the mask, I think they were trying to like trick the audience into thinking that Dr. Hembry, or sorry, Principal Hembry or Hendry. Dr. Principal Hembry is the killer, but he's not, you know, and we find that out later. Should we do popcorn prison, Jeff?
Sure.
All right. What's first on your list? What do you got?
Nothing. I have nothing that I didn't like about this
So
movie.
you really liked this movie.
I loved this movie. This movie was fantastic.
Wow. Okay. Um, listen, I want to talk about Nev Campbell
Sure.
and the whole Kristen Stewart thing. The reason I said she was like giving Kristen Stewart because she was doing a lot of this and a lot of uh, um um Billy. Like it was I was like, wow, what are we doing here? um, but I did like everything else. But when when she's giving her like dialogue, it was it was a little too Kristen Stewart for me. That I think that would be really my only real complaint. And also Rose McGowan, her death scene kind of sucked because she was like so cool about it too. She's like, oh, what are you gonna do? Kill me? Not funny, guys. Like she was just so casual about it. And then they tore her up in the garage door. Also, I didn't know garage doors have doggy doors in them. I've never seen them before. Because how did she? Because she was trying to climb out like a doggy door in the garage.
Yeah.
I guess maybe that's a custom thing or like something they do in the States. I don't know.
Maybe.
Because if you did that in Canada, I feel like it would get filled up with snow.
Yeah.
I also wanted to mention the Clueless reference at the beginning with Matthew Lillard. He's like, as if. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah.
And he calls Jamie I think it's Jamie Kennedy, he calls him Alicia. Oh my god, what's her name? Cher calls her Cher. I would say I would give this movie a large popcorn. I enjoyed it. It was entertaining. It didn't scare the crap out of me, but it had some good jump scares. It was gory, but not too gory. It was clever. It was cheeky. There was a little bit of romance. I didn't find it slow. Had a good pace. Yeah, all in all, good movie. What about you, Jeff?
I'm giving it a large popcorn as well.
Yeah,
I could easily be convinced to give it an extra large popcorn, but kind of save my extra large popcorn for just movies that are just a bit better than this. I don't have anything even nitpicky with this, but
yeah,
I mean, I felt like even when they played off when the best friend, I used Rose McGowan's character,
yep,
when even when she was playing it off like, oh yeah, okay, you're gonna kill me, and she's just like being very facetious about it. I felt like her character probably would be like that. You know, like
yeah,
that's because I mean, how many times have you been alone in a house with the lights off and you're actually worried about something, right?
yeah.
Like I
And
wouldn't.
she's around with her friends, right? Like it's
How many
not like,
parties have we been to where you go out to the garage to the beer fridge to get a couple beers and you come back in? Like I've been to a couple parties like that. You know, you go out, you're on your own, you know, whatever, right? Now, that being said, most of the time it's not in a town that has just had like six people murdered in the last 24 hours.
right.
But
Yeah. Um, I forgot to mention one thing on the popcorn prison list.
sure.
The party house. We've mentioned this in previous episodes. This party house, I think it was Matthew Lillard's character, Stu's family's house,
Uh
right? Or was it someone else's?
I why do I want to say it was the best friend's house? It might have been Stu's house.
I feel like it was Stu because he said, I'm having a party at my place.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Stu's.
And then
They
he's like,
dropped
my
they
parents
dropped
are
Nev
gonna,
Campbell off, and Dewey dropped Nev Campbell off and the sister.
yeah,
It
at the
wouldn't make
house.
sense if it was. Yeah. You're right. It's Stu's house.
Yeah, I have a problem with Stu's house. Why is it so ginormous? And the party situation again. Although this party was a little tamer, besides the killing, this party was a little tamer than some of the parties that we've seen on screen for these teen type movies.
You know,
So,
looks like there is maybe 15 or so people there.
yeah, it wasn't a
Not like
lot.
you, where there was 15 people in every room.
Corner in
Yeah,
every corner. It was like they were
exactly.
multiplying,
Yeah.
like every time they'd like clone
You
and
couldn't
each
even
other.
move through their house. No,
Yeah,
this one was good. But yeah,
yeah. It's just a vice. I get it, but it was like, okay, unnecessarily. He could have had a normal house. Like no one gives a shit. Like just do a normal house with your 15 friends. It doesn't
have
have
you
to be a
seen any
mansion.
of the other screams?
I don't remember, to be honest. I don't remember. We'll have to watch those ones.
Okay.
I'm sure we will because this one was a good one. I really enjoyed it. Um, with that being said, guys, check this movie out. We highly recommend it. We both enjoyed it. And yeah. And so I have a mom joke before we head out. You know me, I got to do the mom joke. Uh, what did one ghost say to the other ghost? Do you believe in people? Yeah, come on. Come on. Thanks for listening to the Popcorn Patrol podcast. Jeff, do you want to let people know what our socials are and about our
Yeah, you
socials?
can find us on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, occasionally on TikTok. Where podcast is hosted on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and YouTube. So check us out, like, subscribe, uh, leave a comment, tell us what you don't like, tell us what you like. Yeah.
Yeah, we got our first comment on YouTube. It felt good. I was like, it's a legit person. I was like, that's kind of cool. So if you guys leave us a comment, we will respond. We're not
Absolutely.
stuck up. But anyways, guys, please join us next time when we review a special episode being released on Halloween. You know what movie it is. It's Jeff, what is it?
Halloween,
Yeah, surprise.
1978.
1978 classic. Um, Thanks for listening, guys. We hope you have a great week and we'll catch you next time. Popcorn Patrol out. Peace.